Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But don't forget to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, y'all, coming with another look. You know, my hair is braided down up under here, so I had to give you a little, Diana. Look, if the wig slides back, that's because it has no combs, all right? So I'm doing the best I can. But I feel like this reunion just may blow my wig back, okay? I watched the reunion and I fell straight asleep. I don't remember being tired before I watched the reunion. But afterwards, like, I literally fell asleep. I planned on recording my review right after the reunion. It's literally 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's like now I have plenty of energy to record this because it literally drained me to watch this reunion. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's start off with Jessica and Austin because they're the only success story from this season. If anybody from Married at First Sight is watching this, I want y'all to know that a little bit of drama is fine, but I saw people writing, let's have more adult drama. Let's talk about finances. Let's talk about apartments and houses. Let's have fights over things that actually matter and not find people that will just cause drama because they are somehow emotionally unstable or just overall not ready to be married. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of, we don't want to see that kind of drama. I would rather see more success stories than people that did not make it. This was a fail. This season was a fail. I believe they've already filmed the next season. Like already. Because they already gave us a preview. So I'm pretty sure at least they began. I don't know if they're in the middle of it. Hopefully not, because like the pandemic. I want y'all to learn from this season because a lot of people were turned off by this season. A lot of people didn't even watch this season. They told me in the comments that they didn't watch it. They just watched reviews. Anyway, I just went off on a tangent that I did not mean to go on just now. I'll talk more about that when I talk about the rest of these couples. So I'm going to start with the only couple that was healthy and non-toxic. Jessica and Austin. When we meet them, obviously they're still married, they're still happy together. So apparently the next 3 months after decision day, he was literally traveling every single week, and I believe like 3 to 4 days out of those weeks. And so obviously she felt lonely and she missed him. He missed her too. The distance kind of made the heart grow fonder. It showed them that they really did care about each other, because I think him traveling actually probably turned out to be a good thing because it showed them that they really truly did care about each other. I mean, with him traveling so much, they could have like fell back into their like single life habits, but it just made them want to be married even more. So that was awesome to hear. They spent the holidays with each other's families, and so it's real. They also signed a lease for an apartment for a year, and they're looking for a house in the meantime. And like they said before, they want like 2 to 3 kids in probably 2 to 3 years. But she said right now she wants to get to know her husband. Please, like I think that's the best thing to do. Like, get to know each other first. Like, there's no rush for kids. I believe they're in their 20s. I didn't check, but I believe they're in their 20s. They have time. They have time. So I'm just so happy to see that they made it. And they seem to be doing well. So I just don't have anything negative to say about them. Let's move on to Zach and Mindy. I feel like Zach had on his intellectual look today. Okay. And so I feel like he felt justified to ramble just as much as he does all the time. And I'm just like, every time Zach opens his mouth, I can't even lie, I don't listen. Like, I completely tune out. I be writing notes. I be in my phone. I be like paying attention to everything else but what Zach has to say. Because what Zach is saying really holds, he don't really be saying much. Like, he be saying everything without saying nothing. I loved the host Kevin throughout this entire reunion. He should be an expert on this show because he's the only one that actually holds people's feet to the fire. I feel like he dropped the ball a little bit with Taylor, but for the most part, everyone else, he did not sugarcoat nothing. He did not let nobody get away with nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he asked all the questions that we really wanted to know. He was very thorough. There were a couple of instances where I didn't agree with him, but other than that, go Kevin. I love him for this show. He needs to be every reunion host, and y'all might need to bring him on as an expert or some sort of consultant, because bring him in as the accountability holder. That's what we need him for right there, since y'all can't seem to do it every time. Okay. So when Zach got to talking in circles as usual, he said, we could talk in circles all day long. We still don't know what you're talking about. We don't know what you're talking about because you're not talking about anything. The host was trying to get Zach to admit that, you know, he made a mistake signing up. He wasn't ready getting married, or, you know, I'm just saying, be honest and tell the truth about this whole thing. You were not in this. You were not invested whatsoever. It was so clear to see. And he had the nerve to say he never checked out. And the host was like, you never checked in. You never checked in. You didn't even move out of the house. How you gonna say you never checked out when you never checked in? It's easy to say things after the fact, but we saw it with our own eyes what happened. You abandoned her. And that's very clear. Mindy questioned him about whether he did this for publicity. People that do it for publicity will never actually say that. They will never admit it. So I definitely believe he did this for publicity. I've been thinking this the whole time. To me, he's in the category of Matt and Derek. By the way, did y'all see the previews for next week? And they're going to bring back Matt and Amber to discuss whatever they're going to discuss. I am ready for that. I'm more so ready for that than I was ready for this. But anyway, let's get back to this reunion. We're going to talk more about Minnie and Zach later on once they, you know, all get together. I'm just talking about them individually. Mika and Michael. Mika looked gorgeous. Let me just say that. Mika looked amazing. I feel like she looked good. So the host tried to bring up like good times, and it's like they had to go all the way back to like the wedding day and their 1 month anniversary to find the good times. And I'm just like, there weren't really many good times because he's been tripping since the honeymoon. When they gave a total like breakdown and montage of everything that he lied about or wasn't quite so honest or forthcoming about. The ultimatum on sleeping together, the principal job, his salary, this yoga job. I mean, Mika said she called every yoga studio and he worked at not one. And let's not forget gas mileage, the pettiest of them all. The pettiest of them all. That is a lot to deal with. It's a lot of lies, especially within 2 months. You lied about all that, and I'm supposed to trust you? The host said he didn't look... The host said from his yoga moves, he did not look like he was an instructor, more so like a beginner. Michael probably just became super interested in yoga and therefore, you know, practiced in his home and maybe watched videos, maybe went to a bunch of classes and just, you know, wanted to say he taught yoga because of his knowledge, possibly. But you have to actually get a certification. Am I right? I thought you had to get a certification. Where is your proof? Where is your proof that you actually are certified to teach yoga? If you can't produce that, then we're just gonna have to throw that in the pile of lies. I'm sorry. Michael expressed pretty much no remorse for his lies, even though you admitted to lying. Like, it's like he tried to backtrack, and it's like, but you already admitted to lying, so we can't backtrack no more. After the host, aka the accountability holder, was letting him know, look, you already lied. You need to go ahead and apologize because you already admitted to not telling the truth. So he apologized for being called out for his inconsistencies. And she felt like she was too hard on him in certain instances, harsh. And she gave a very unnecessary apology. Look, anybody in Mika's situation would react the way she did. Probably worse. Probably worse. She actually carried herself with a lot of class. She had one blow up, one huge blow up, right? I think it was warranted. He had gotten caught up in like multiple lies. So I feel like she had the right to snap the way she did and did not owe this man an apology whatsoever. I didn't like how they were trying to pressure her to feel like she should apologize when she was not wrong in this situation. And a lot of y'all out there think that Mika is mean or that she doesn't carry herself well, but I don't agree with you, because she has been placed on guard since day one, pretty much. So she hasn't been able to express who her actual personality is. Why is it that everybody else loves Mika? Why is it that everybody else talks so highly of Mika? You know what I'm saying? I would love to speak to her exes. I would love to, you know what I'm saying? We didn't really get a chance to see who Mika actually was. You can't say that you can't say that she was mean or nasty. She wasn't disrespectful. In fact, Katie was the one who was mean and disrespectful, and she was not held to the fire to apologize. No one asked her to apologize at all. She was one of the most disrespectful. I want y'all to name me one instance where Mika was completely disrespectful to Michael that we saw. You can't. Every time I ask that question, no one has an answer. Okay? So let's move on. So speaking of Katie and Derek, let's move on. When they first came out, their body language was completely off. They were completely standoffish. I had no doubt that they were not together. So right after decision day, they moved in together. And she said that he was still acting single, staying out all night, working late. And they didn't really have much communication. So when she brought this up to him, he made an effort to do things that she would like, and he did, you know, he did thoughtful things. We've seen Derek be thoughtful on this show, so I have no doubt that he actually tried. So then the host asked her, like, what have you done in return? Like, Derek has done all of these thoughtful gestures and been nice and romantic and has tried to do the things that she demanded from him. He has. We have seen this time and time again, but the entire season, when have we ever seen Katie go out of her way to do something nice for Derek, to say something nice to Derek without him saying something nice to her first? And the host asked her, like, what have you done for him? And basically initiating intimacy and initiating the hard conversations. Okay, yeah, that's the least you can do. That's the bare minimum you could do. You said he won't do it, you will. Great. That's great. That's like what you should do in a relationship. Awesome. Outside of that, what have you done nice for Derek? Because Derek has done romantic dinners. He has talked to your family, gotten your family photos, put together a family photo album. He's bought you tickets to a concert for your favorite artist. He has, what else did Eric, he put you on his healthcare plan. Okay? What have you done for him? She couldn't give you nothing. And that's why I'm like, how come ain't nobody making Katie apologize for not giving her all? Because apparently she didn't. So obviously they're not married. And 2 weeks after decision day, 2 weeks after they moved in, she asked him to be friends. She wanted to just be friends. A couple of days after that, you wanted to sleep in different rooms. And so after that, he asked her did she want to separate, because obviously she was moving in that direction. But they had to live together until they could find somebody to take over the apartment. Basically, the host asked Derek, was he hurt by this whole situation? Did he get his heart broken? Derek was like, luckily Katie made it really easy not to fall in love. I was like, woo. Woo! I mean, she did that, but woo. That was a burn. And he also revealed that she had an affair with her ex a week ago. But apparently, Derek said that he was told by 5 different people, including 2 people from the cast, that she slept with her ex a day after the honeymoon. And ain't nobody shocked by that. She was not invested in this situation. Like, if she did that, that would actually make more sense than if she didn't. She went back to her ex, and it's like he was pretending like he wanted her while she was married, but now that she was willing to come back to him, he was not wanting her back, because that's what players do. They don't want you to be with anybody else. They want you to still be on their roster, but they don't want to actually have to commit to you. And so I think Katie kind of played herself and ran back to her ex, and he didn't actually want her in reality. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds like he kind of used her one last time, and then that was it. She said it was nothing. She said it was just physical. We're gonna get back to Katie and Derek. Let me just go ahead and talk about this whole Taylor and Brandon debacle. First of all, Taylor is there by herself. Brandon is not there. We heard that Brandon did not even get invited to the reunion, but we found out during the reunion that they both were granted protective orders against each other. So Brandon already like made himself an enemy to production. I'm sure if they wanted Brandon there, they could like have Taylor in the back and bring him to the front and then switch him out. I'm sure they could have did it that way, but Brandon wasn't even invited apparently. So the host confronted her about the video. She still didn't take responsibility. He didn't push her, and I was just like, okay, I guess we have more pressing things to get to. I guess I'll let that go. I wish he would have like pressed her further. So we got into why they have protective orders against each other. So sometime after decision day, this is Brandon's side of the story, by the way. She showed up to a local restaurant where he frequented or used to work or whatever, and he just happened to be there. She came there with another man. Apparently she pushed him and then called the police and said that he assaulted her. When the police came, they both were arrested and went to jail because neither had any proof of the other's aggression. Okay, that's Brandon's side. Her side is she went to the restaurant where he used to work. She claims that she thought he wouldn't be there. So she went to the bathroom, or she was off somewhere else, and Brandon approached her friend behind her back. Once she sees this happen, she grabs her friend, tries to leave, and Brandon ends up following her and takes pictures. She turns around and tells him to stop. And then both of them get arrested. See, the thing is, Taylor, something is missing between you telling him to stop and the police coming. Why would the police be called if it was a civil conversation of you just telling him to stop? Something physical, something disturbing the peace happened for the police to be called. Brandon's story is more believable because it just had a logical turn of events. Yours, the story is not adding up. Now I believe there's two sides of every story, and then there's the truth. So I believe the truth lies somewhere in the middle, but Taylor is not even giving me, she's not giving me enough. What did you do to get arrested? Something happened. Something happened. She claimed she wanted the police to come because she wanted to talk about getting a protective order. But girl, if you truly wanted a protective order, you could have just simply left and went to the police station the next day and filed for one. And honestly, that whole situation didn't even have to happen if you would have just walked out the door. Yeah, he was taking pictures, but he wasn't holding you there. He wasn't holding a gun to your head and said, stay here and let me take pictures. You should have walked out that door instead of confronting him. And that's what sounded like got y'all arrested. So, you know, she said she ain't never been arrested in her life. But, you know, if you're confrontational in public, especially if you're like drunk and intoxicated, the police will get called. You know what I'm saying? Just because you ain't never been arrested, that don't mean you ain't never acted up in public and dipped off quick enough so the police couldn't arrest you. So then they brought everyone out. And so apparently they had like court appearances and everything. People from the cast were there. Mika, Mindy, and Katie were there. They said it went on for 2 days and it was intense. And Mika said pretty much they needed this to like settle everything and just, you know, throw the hammer down. I think we all can admit both of them are toxic to each other and they just need to leave each other alone. And they just can't seem to do that. So they needed literal court documents to shut it down. Then the host began to ask Michael all these questions about Brandon, and it kind of made him the spokesperson for Brandon. And I do feel like that was unfair because, I mean, y'all knew that he was the only one that was there on his side. Y'all knew that Brandon made some like terrible decisions while he was on this show as far as how he treated the producers and even the cast, and just how he acted out this whole time. I don't think that's right to hold Michael accountable for those things just because Brandon was not there. If y'all wanted to hold Brandon accountable, y'all should have had him do a video call or something like that. And if not, if y'all couldn't get him to do anything, then y'all should have just left it where it was, because that shouldn't have been on Michael to have to defend Brandon for what he's doing. And then they started talking about his relationship to the producers and how literally everyone else loves the producers. They're friends with the producers. Apparently they all get assigned their own producers, and you know, everyone gets along except for Brandon. That still doesn't mean that people were not poking and pushing Brandon. The way they edit this show, you just never know. So I'm not going to completely be like, yeah, just because y'all love the producers, that don't mean he didn't rub one the wrong way and they, you know, tried to make him blow up. I don't know. But I do think he has an issue with controlling his emotions, because a grown man shouldn't be making outbursts the way he was. So I'm not defending Brandon necessarily. I'm just saying producers are known to be shady, and you know, I just can't take y'all word for it just because y'all didn't have a bad experience with that person. They're asking Michael once again about Brandon's outburst, and he's like, Michael was defending him, citing his anxiety issues, and he's used to students having outbursts. Mika says he's gonna side with Brandon no matter what. And honestly, when you have a friend, right or wrong, if you have a loyalty to that person, yeah, you might talk to that person and tell your friend they were wrong or whatever. But when it comes to being in a whole group of people, you're the only person that has that person's back and everybody else against him. You know, he didn't want to speak down on his friend because everybody else was. He didn't want to be one more person piling up on him. And he completely, like, had an outburst himself and walked out. When the host went back there to talk to Michael about him walking out, he said he doesn't feel it's fair that he has to speak on his behalf. He's not Brandon's spokesperson, and he felt uncomfortable. And you know, it was an uncomfortable situation how they were like literally, you know, holding him accountable for Brandon's actions. And then he brought in being a black man, and the host was like, I'm a black man, don't try to turn it into that. If anything's Brandon's behavior is hurting us all. I don't agree with that. Just because Brandon is a black man and he made terrible decisions on camera, I don't think that speaks for every black man. I don't think that makes every black man look bad. Mika says he always walks away when faced with confrontation, so this is nothing new. She also said that, you know, you should call your friends out when they're wrong. When Taylor was wrong, she called her out for that. And I agree with her. I do agree. If he's not calling his friend out behind the scenes or, you know, to his face, then, you know, that's not being a real friend. But I feel like this situation was totally different. They kind of set him up to be the fall guy when he already was getting ridiculed. I don't think that was fair. All the women have tattooed 10, I believe, on their finger. I forgot to write down what they tatted, but they all have matching tattoos. Clearly the men are not as close as the women were, but I think it's cute that they have a little sisterhood going on. It seems like every season the women from that season have like a sisterhood, which is good. That's great to have like a support system of people that went through what you went through. I think that's great. So when it came down to Mindy's portion to confront Zach, she couldn't do it on her own. I was just like, Mindy, even after everything is said and done, you're the one who ended the marriage. You confronted him very well on your own. Why did she need her friend to come out and have her back? I don't know. Like, you're 34. You should not need your friend to help you fight anybody's battles, especially with your ex-husband. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this situation can happen again if she doesn't learn how to have her own back. Her friend shouldn't have to handle these sort of situations for her. So they brought up the whole Lindsay thing. Lindsay truly hurt her to her core. I mean, as expected, that was a complete betrayal. The friend said that Zach said he was going to visit her and that she was a better match to her than Mindy was, which I completely believe. He completely denies it. Her friend that was up on the stage said that Lindsay just seemed like she was a little bit too proud to be stealing her man. She thought it was actually going to be something, and pow, in your face, it wasn't. Because Zach is full of it. Mindy has not spoke to her friend since, but she wants to make up. And her reason for wanting to make up is because they are all in like the same friend group and she doesn't want to make it awkward. First of all, why do the rest of your friends think that's okay with what she did? Y'all still want to be friends with someone who was trying to go behind her friend's back and steal her husband? You need to check those other friends, because her friend that was actually there, she was like, no, I would never want to be friends with someone like that because she's not quality. She don't want to be friends. And I feel like your real friends would feel the same way as that friend. Second of all, Mindy, you don't have to be friends with someone to be cordial. Like, if you still want to be able to have all of you guys hang out, you can be cordial without being friends. And this is another way that I think Mindy is, you know, it's like she doesn't value herself enough. You don't have to be friends with someone who would be willing to steal your husband. You don't deserve that, and if she did it one time, she'll do it again. And then we finally get to the segment where they're talking about who on the cast told on Katie. Mika immediately was like, I didn't do it. Nobody else on that cast said they didn't do it. So we really don't know who did. But I just have this sneaky suspicion that it was Austin and Jessica, because both of them were just sitting there. I don't know. They was looking a little... Austin was looking guilty and Jessica was looking like... Like, if you confront me about it, I sure did. I sure did. I don't know. I just feel like they're the ones who did. Who do y'all think told? Who do y'all think? Y'all let me know down below. Who do y'all think told on Katie? So they ended up having an argument at this point. She called him crazy and fake because he was actually calling her to the carpet for the first time in their entire relationship, because he never really called her out the entire time they were together. So she confessed to having the affair after asking to be friends. So it's kind of shady that she asked to be friends and then went to go, you know, sleep with her ex. That's very shady. That's very shady, because it's like you could not wait to get back to your ex. You couldn't wait until it was all said and done. And we all knew she was still stuck on that ex since the beginning. We all knew that. He confronted her like, why did you say yes on decision day? I felt like she was going to say no, but she only said yes, you know, to appease him in the situation. She basically said she wanted to make it work out, but he was like, you said yes to only give it 2 weeks of time. You didn't even give it a whole month, Katie. She said before this reunion, they went out to eat and everything was fine. He said, you invited me out to eat because you wanted to threaten me not to say anything about what happened. She said she didn't want him to bring it up because it literally had nothing to do with their breakup. But it kind of did, Katie, because it seemed like you just didn't want to have a guilty conscience about meeting up with your ex. So it's like you broke up specifically so you could meet up with the ex, not because you actually wanted the marriage to work out in the long run. He ain't stirring up drama, Katie. He just stating the facts, and you just mad that he brought it up. And finally, the thing we were all waiting for, even though I did spoilers and we kind of found out already what happened, but the 2 cast members from different marriages that went on a date were Katie and Zach. And apparently Zach initiated it. He asked her out for drinks, and Katie was just basically like, they just talked about the show because they never really, I guess, got a chance to talk. Why do y'all need to meet up? Why? I just think it's shady. Both of y'all have been shady already on the show. Y'all have shown shady actions already, and then to find out that y'all met up with each other behind people's back. It's not like you told anybody that y'all were meeting up. If it was so innocent, why weren't you able to tell Mindy, someone who you share matching tattoos with? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really shady that you didn't even tell Mindy that you went on and so that you had a meetup with her ex who did her completely dirty. Why are you even meeting up with him? Why is that necessary? You're not meeting up with nobody else from the show. Why are you meeting up with Zach? And Katie said she texted her because she felt bad. Why did you feel bad? Why did you feel bad if it was so innocent? And if I was Mindy, I would not be your friend. But Mindy still be friends with people that do her dirty, so I get it. Katie also mentioned that after seeing the show, she wasn't interested. What do you mean you weren't interested? Like, it was like after seeing how Zach acted on TV, oh, now I don't want him. why were you acting like you were interested anyway? I feel like she told on herself again in that moment and just no one caught on to it. So either way, y'all. And then at the very end, Austin gave her a ring, professing his love for her, and everybody else single. So once again, this season was a fail. This reunion completely wore me out. I am so tired. Like, even after having some sleep and waking up, after discussing this for almost an hour, hopefully I can edit this down to way less than that, I'm like wore out once again. It's tiring because majority of these relationships were toxic. I feel like majority of the people on this cast were not ready to be married. And I feel like some people deserve a second chance, like Mindy. I feel like Mindy needs to work on herself a little bit more, though, before she is ready to be married. So, Mika, I do think Mika deserves another chance. I feel like Derek deserves another chance. Yeah, that's it. Everyone else, I feel like, needs to, like, just take out time, work on themselves, get some help, whatever it is they need to do, because, it just doesn't seem like they were ready for marriage. And I feel like a lot of these people were incompatible, period. And maybe it's because when they were interviewed, they presented another person and they actually turned out to be someone else. But in that case, I feel like y'all need to do a better job vetting these people. You need to make sure they actually work where they say they work. You need to talk to exes and see how their personalities actually are. You know what I'm saying? Talk to family members, talk to ex-friends. We need to talk. We need to have a conversation with everyone and make sure these people are telling the truth, because you are matching people up not to date but to be married. And in essence, when you get married, you want to be married for the rest of your life. That's the goal, right? If that's the case, y'all need to make sure these people are qualified. And I feel like they did a terrible job this season. Hopefully next season is better. But it just feels like y'all didn't even take a beat before y'all moved on to the next season to know what y'all needed to change. But we'll see. So yeah, that's how I felt about this season, y'all. Y'all let me know, how did y'all feel about this season? What do you think they need to improve for next season, even though they've already filmed it? Also, let me know what you thought about the reunion and everything that happened. I would love to hear your opinion. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.